meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. In our study, computer room, music room, and sometimes junk room. You think this has to be a big room? No, it's about 10 by 11. I have several books. I don't have as many now as I used to. With the internet and e-books, I don't have anywhere near as many physical books as I once did. But I still have several. And there's a section in there that belongs to Phyllis Ann. That's hers. And there are a lot of books that she has bought down through the years that I think all of them are probably by women authors. And some of them, just the title alone, they're great. I like this one. God uses cracked pots. That should be high on your reading list. Only angels can wing it. The rest of us have to practice. You kids will love this one. Mama, get the hammer. There's a fly on Papa's head. The ladies will appreciate this one. I'm trying to sit at his feet, but who's going to cook dinner? My favorite among titles, and I used it as an introduction for the sermon. It's a book written by a lady by the name of Nancy Kennedy. And it says, "Help, I'm being intimidated by the Proverbs 31 woman." Some of you ladies can relate to that. Let me soothe your worry just a little bit. God did not put this passage in the Bible to intimidate women. He did not. Any more than the fact that He put Psalm 1 to intimidate men. There's several things I found out about God, and one of them is He's not in the intimidation business. Now, make no doubt about it. He is a force. We should respect Him because of His sovereignty, because of who He is. And there's times that we read of His awesomeness, even in relationship to judgment. But God is not in the intimidation, bullying business. And the lady that's described in Proverbs 31 was not put here to try to make women feel bad and cause you to think, there's no hope for me. No. I'm going to tell you this morning that there are several women that I know, and a lot of them are in this church, that would fit the explanation that we have before us in Proverbs 31. But she is a great example. And that's what this text is all about. It's as though God is saying, ladies, moms, here's my ideal mother and wife. So let's look at 3 or 4 things about her. We'll go hurriedly. First of all, there was her worth. Verse 10 says that her price is far above rubies. The writer used one of the most expensive of all commodities, rubies. In that day, that would have been gigantic. People would have immediately thought of wealth. Yet the writer says that her value far exceeds the most precious of all rubies or anything else you want to throw in there, diamonds or anything else. Her value far exceeds that. She was valuable to her companion. Verse 12 says that she does her husband good and not evil all the days of her life. And all the men said, Amen. We are living in a day and era where there are so many fragmented relationships. I think Satan has attacked the home as much as any other entity in this world. Because Satan knows oh so well that if he can get into the home, that's going to find its way into the community. It's going to find its way into the church. And what a breath of fresh air to read of this woman who says that she will do good to her husband all the days of her life. She will not do him evil. She was valuable to her companion. She was valuable to her children. Verse 28, and ladies, this is one of the most beautiful things that could ever be said. Verse 28 says that they rise up and they call her blessed. I got up this morning early and I was sitting down scanning through Facebook, and I just saw person after person that I knew who were paying such great tributes to their mothers. And it's beautiful. It's wonderful. And it should happen. In reality, it should happen more often than just one day a year. But for a child to rise up at some point in their life and to say, Mom, you taught me how to cook. You taught me how to sew a button on. You've helped me in so many ways in my life. For those children to rise up and say, I have been blessed beyond measure because of the mother that God gave me. I don't know of any greater tribute than that. Her worth. She was a valuable woman. Then there's her works. We'll go through them quickly. Verse 13, she worketh willingly with her hands. Verse 15, she giveth meat to her household. She's a chef. Verse 19, she layeth her hands to the spindle. She's a seamstress. Verse 27, she looketh well to the ways of her household. You know, that's so interesting to me because this is a very prominent woman. She has servants under her. Yet she doesn't sit back. She doesn't expect to be waited on. I would take from this that she's doing much of the servitude toward them. That's incredible. That comes from someone who has a servant's heart. Her worth, her value, it's beyond measure. Her works, extraordinary. She's a busy woman. Her wisdom. Verse 16 says that she considereth the field and buyeth it. She's a realtor. Verse 18, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. She's an entrepreneur. Those things require wisdom. If you're going to do the things that she was doing, you have to have the ability to make wise decisions. And she had that. And even though there's not a verse in there that directly asserts this fact, don't you just know that she had that same wisdom? When those children came to her who would rise up and call her blessed, don't you know that when those children came to her and said, Mother, I've got to make a decision. I need some input. And I have watched you. I have observed you. You have the wisdom of God within you. Help me. I want to make the right choice. I want to do the right thing. And I know I guess because I have a wife who is a mother, and I've observed it firsthand. I know there are times that mother wants to assert her wisdom or her 2 cents a whole lot more. And there are times probably that those children think, Mom, I don't want to hear it. You're out of date. Isn't that ironic? As I was talking a moment ago about how we change our philosophy toward people. Isn't that ironic that when we grow up, we begin to realize, my mama was nowhere near as dumb as I thought she was. How many of you ever realized that? Have you found that out? My mama was a whole lot more wise than I thought she was at one time. And the funny thing, the great thing, is when something comes out of our mouth and we say, oh my goodness, I have become my mother. That happens. And that isn't a bad thing. What a great tribute to Mom. Then there's her welfare. Verse 20, she stretcheth out her hand to the poor and reacheth forth her hands to the needy. There were no programs around in that day. No commodities. There was nothing to help, no government help whatsoever. Thank God for the heart of women like this virtuous woman who, when she saw a need, whether it be in her household or whether it be a neighbor, when she saw a need, she reached out to help. And with the economy in our world today and our country, and with governments making cutbacks more and more and more, I don't doubt for a moment that this is something that we're going to have to see more and more and more. And I'm not sure that's a bad thing. Because I think God gave us the model that we are to take care of our family first. And then as God blesses us and reveals needs to us, we should help others. That's not a bad thing. It really isn't. Her welfare. Then there's her witness. I love this. Verse 25, strength and honor are her clothing. Isn't that great? Her husband was well known. She complimented him. He occupied a position where when he walked down the street, people would have said, there goes so-and-so. Very highly respected man. But then when his wife walked down the street, there were so many of them that would equate a portion of the goodness of this man to the woman to which he was married. She was elegant. She really was. When she went out, she was glamorous. You want to know how glamorous a lot of the ladies are today? Go to Walmart and hang around a while. Yeah. I'm sorry, ladies. This woman was so eloquent when she walked out. She was so graceful. Others would look at her and go, wow. Wow. There's so many people that come to my mind that fit in that category. They really, really do. She was so recognizable because of the person that she was. Her worth, her works, her wisdom, her welfare, her witness, and then I saved the greatest one for last, her worship. Verse 30, favor is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. You can be in good favor with someone, and it may not be genuine. It may just be on the surface. Or you can be in good favor with someone and then lose that quickly. It's gone. Beauty, she was an elegant woman. But age takes its toll. Even on the most eloquent, age takes its toll. So that physical beauty, it can be gone. But a woman that feareth the Lord, that will remain with her all of the days of her life. And the word fear there doesn't mean that somebody cringes. Oh, no. It's respect. A woman who respects the Lord, she shall be praised. Ladies, I want to remind you again, God did not place this passage here to bully or intimidate you. No. No, it's just His beautiful picture of an ideal wife and mother. And I said earlier, and I do not retract it, I have been blessed in my years to know so many that I would put right beside of her. And many of them are in this great church. Thank you, ladies, from the depths of our heart. Let's bow our head together. We're going to go to God in prayer.